I'm going to go through the stretches real quick for the warm-up drill. We're going to start with the pecs or the chest. All right, think of your pec as your big chest muscle as we get here. I'm going to use this platform or this rack, and you can very easily substitute this out for a door jamb. All right, again, on any vertical post. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my arm so that I've got my elbow bent at a 90-degree angle, all right, and my elbow should be just underneath shoulder height. I'm going to come and place my elbow onto the inside of that vertical post, and then I'm going to try to squeeze my shoulder blade, all right, down and back, and then start to rotate away from it. I'm looking for a stretch directly across my chest, right, all the way through to my sternum. I don't want to feel any point-specific pain or discomfort right at the front side of my shoulder. It should be a broad, general stretch all the way through. I'm using the actual rack as a fixed point, and I'm using my legs and body to leverage myself away as I turn to try to bring my hips midsection all towards the wall in front. I would hold this here for 60 seconds on one side, and then I would switch and go to the exact same thing on the opposite side, where again I squeeze, I get my elbow in, I squeeze my shoulder back, and then I start to turn and open up away to get that stretch going through the midsection all the way across my chest. Okay? The next stretch we're going to get into is going to be for your lats, which again, your lats are this musculature here, right, all the way down the underside of your arm. And for me to get into that position, what I want to do is I'm going to grab, if I want to stretch my right lat, I'm going to grab across the left side of my body. So I'm going to reach my arm across, and I'll find a pole, a bar, anything, a fixed object, and then I'm going to drop my butt and hips backwards, and then I'm going to start to shift towards my right hip to get this great stretch going all the way through my lat. I can drop my head and shoulder somewhat to increase the length there, and hold that position 60 on one side, 60 to the other. Then take my left hand, reach it across the right side. All right? Again, I'm going to push back first, and then once I'm back, I'm going to shift and lean, all right, to the outside to try to, again, lengthen that lat there. All right. Again, we hold that for about 60 seconds. The next stretch is going to be the hip flexor. So I'm going to take a mat, and I'm going to go down into a lunge position. From that lunge position, what I want to do is I want to squeeze my glute on the back or bottom leg, and then I'm going to drive my hips forward. Okay? Once I drive forward, if I want to intensify this, I can lengthen, stretch my hands out over the top, but hold that position, squeezing the glute, driving the hips directly in front to feel the stretch coming all the way down the front side of my leg. All right? If I want to make this more challenging, I can find an object to elevate my foot onto behind me to make that more of a challenge. I'm going to show this from the side as well. From that position, I want to get my abs tight, squeeze the glute on this back side, and then take my body and drop my hips down and forward. Once I'm there, I can lift both hands to help with lengthening and stretching through that hip flexion. Okay. The next one we get into will be your hamstrings. All right, hamstrings are pretty easy. We can just sit down to the floor. All right, we can cross one foot to the inside of the knee, and we can reach for the toes. If we can't get to our toes, we can simply grab our ankle, our calf, our knee, our thigh, whatever we can get to, and pull and lean us forward. If I get any pressure on the inside of my knee here, all right, the next thing would be to extend my legs out into a V position and then reach to the outside, all right, reaching for that same foot one at a time. Again, if I can't get to my toes, get to my ankle, my calf, my knee, whatever I can get to, and pull myself down and forward. All right. Next stretch will be your adductors. This is probably the most intense stretch that for me that I'll do. This is one of my least favorites, but very effective. I'm going to start in all four position, almost like a modified push-up, and I'm going to open my knees far out to the outside, okay, and put my feet so that my arches or the inside of my feet are flat to the floor. From that position, keeping the weight on my hands, I'm going to keep my abs tight and start to push back, slow and steady, like I'm sitting my butt back down onto my heels. You'll feel this grab pretty quick, high into the top of your groin or your inner thigh, and we're going to sit there and we're going to hold that position. Again, we hold it for about 60 seconds and allow that stretch to take in. The last one that we're going to do is going to be the external rotators. This is not so much of a stretch per se. It's actually just a rotator cuff or external rotator exercise. I'm going to take a band and I'm going to put that around both my wrists. And then from that position, I'm just going to try to squeeze my elbows into my rib cage and then open my hands. I'm not trying to get separation with my elbows from the rib cage. All right, so I don't want to see my elbows flaring off with this, and I also don't want to see my elbows flaring back with this. All right, they stay locked as I pull the hands apart. All right, so I actually make my external rotators have to work to support that position. All right, that'll conclude the stretches for the warm-up.